Hi guys, today I'm with Phil Wicks, and Phil is one of the top advisors in the country, in fact in Australasia, and he has some very powerful tips for someone looking to get in the industry, which is why this interview is. So welcome Phil, how are you?
Good. How are you, Craig?
I'm awesome, yeah, and you too. So just for someone who's interested in getting in, becoming an advisor, can you just tell about your journey? I mean, you started off 6 years ago, maybe just lead us into how it came about.
Yeah. Well, I was in a fairly large corporation. I was a general manager based in the US, and I'd thought about business consultancy probably for about 10 years. Had never sort of gotten around to actually having the courage to sort of start my own business, but then eventually I decided that when I came back to New Zealand, that was exactly what I wanted to do. And so the first thing I did was actually I bought a master consultancy franchise here in the Waikato in New Zealand, and that ended up, at the time it seemed quite a risk, but within my first full year I'd sort of won the New Zealand franchise of the year, and then the following year the Australasian franchise. So it ended up being pretty successful, and not only was it successful, it was something I really loved doing, so that was a real bonus.
Good. So what makes a successful advisor? How did you get to the top so quickly? I mean, it was within 1 year.
Well, I think there's almost three parts to this. I think the first part is understanding why you want to be an advisor in the first place, and really, I guess, taking it really seriously. It's not something that you can do like stick your toes into it. You're either going to do it full on or you're not. I think taking it really seriously and having a real sort of desire to help people. I think in this case, small business owners. I think so. That's all sort of one part of it. I think the second part of it is around client acquisition. You've got to, before you can actually be a good advisor and actually advise your clients, you've got to get them. So being able to do client acquisition, and the third part obviously is being able to be a successful advisor and make a difference to the businesses you're working with and to the lives of the people that you're working with. So
okay. Cool. So what is it that you love the most about your job?
I love the variation that I have. I really love the fact that I can go from talking to maybe a trade type company like a powder coating company or a plumber, and then the next client I might visit might be a hairdresser or an immigration consultancy or a real estate agent.
Okay.
I mean, every day is different, and there are differences within the days. I mean, the fundamentals of consultancy apply to all those different businesses, but I think that's one of the first things I love is the variation. I also love the reward you get when you actually get some real successes with these people that you're working with. When the businesses grow, when they win awards, when they actually progress, and the impact that it has on some of the lives of their business owners. So there's a lot of there's a nice reward factor. And then, of course, the fact that you can make a really great living out of it. You can actually do well financially and have a good lifestyle as well.
Okay, cool. So what's a typical day look like for you?
Typical day, well, generally I'm sort of up around sort of between 6 and 7, and I'll generally be up by 6:30. First thing I'll do is probably check my emails, and then maybe I might go to the gym, and then come back, and then my first appointment will be maybe at 9 or at 10. And I mean, every day can vary, but generally I'll see between maybe 2 to 3 clients a day. Okay. And so each appointment will last between sort of an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I do try, where possible, I try to make Friday a light day, or even a day where I don't see anybody. And if I do have a day that's maybe just one appointment, then that's when I'll sort of do a bit of paperwork and catch up on some of those other things.
Okay.
But yeah, every day can be a little different.
Yeah. So being in a franchise when you first kicked off, was that helpful for you?
I think it was helpful because I think it really, one of the good things about the franchise or the franchise system is that it had systems already in place. And
Right.
so we have consultants ourselves as a firm, and we have these systems to follow as well. So people can immediately come into the firm and know that there's these processes already in place. And I think
Right.
to try and do that by myself when I first started would have been pretty daunting.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it did make it a lot easier to get going.
Okay. So obviously to get to the top 3 positions in Australasia, how do you organise your time? Have you got any sort of tips on that?
Yeah, I think, and there's a difference now from when I first started. Obviously, when I first started, there was quite a lot of focus on client acquisition.
Yeah.
And whereas I don't have that same sort of focus now because most of my business I get is through referral.
Okay.
So I don't really have to go looking for new business. It sort of comes to
Yeah.
me, and that is what happens once you've been a consultant and you've done a good job for a year or two. You start just getting referrals. But when you first start, you do want to organise your time between client acquisition and actually, looking for clients with the help of the organisation that you're with as well, and then also just your general consulting.
Okay, good. So this next one, who inspires you? Like, as being an advisor, are there sort of books that you read or YouTube things that you follow, or is there anybody that sort of inspires you in your profession?
Yeah, I mean, I do have read a lot especially when I first came in. I read a lot about from other consultants and successful consultants.
Right.
I suppose at the moment, I'm probably inspired by my business partners because,
Okay.
I have 2 business partners and we're all very different personalities, which makes it quite interesting sometimes. But
Yeah.
I really respect my business partners in different ways, and I understand the synergy of that. I'm also inspired by my own consultants as well.
Yeah.
We've had people in the organisation that have been here for a fair while, and they've gone through periods where it might have been a little bit tough to begin with, but they're still here. So, and I'm also, when I first started, there was a couple of consultants within the network that we had. That the first thing I did was look at what they were doing. I think that's always a good lesson. If you're doing something new, look for somebody who's successful and be prepared to be teachable and listen to their advice.
So currently, you have your own franchise and brand with your 2 other directors you just mentioned. So that's Business Success Partners. So for someone who might be interested in becoming a consultant, what is the next step for them?
Well, I think the next step for them would be just to contact us, and meet us. I think a really important part of working together in a business is actually liking the people that you're working with. So I think just getting to know the people in the business is important, and also know what we actually offer as a team, and as far as our tools and all those sort of things. So the first step is just to make contact with us.
Yeah, good. I'll just put up the URL for your website now, so if someone wants to have a look, we'll just add that, and there it is there, businesssuccesspartners.co.nz. And that's been great, Phil. Well, congratulations on being one of the top 3 in Australasia, and congratulations on turning that into your own business. I think it's fantastic. So if anybody's out there, Phil will really be a good inspiration for you and someone to talk to. So thanks a lot, Phil. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Cheers.